Okay, so sorry. So yeah, so I hope you all are doing well and keeping safe in this pandemic. And I just wanted to like start this session with a positive note that we all follow the protocols and we just follow the guidelines that has been provided to make sure that we beat up this virus and we make sure that we are safe and healthy. So I think we can start the session if you all are like okay. I just wanted to say that we're gonna have an interactive session because if we are like communicating within ourselves, I would be able to like give more information. I'd be able to share you more details about what you all are supposed to do in terms of this plantation drive. And it's a great initiative taken by the Department of Philosophy. I just hope that this thing has to be taken into like consideration by other departments of your university, and hopefully like this becomes a revolution. So congratulations for that. Why am I not able to share screen, Danishta? I'm not able to share the screen because host disable participant screen sharing. It's showing something like that.
Are you able to do that now?
Okay, let me check. Okay, yeah, I can take up. So okay, guys, please confirm whether you are able to see my screen or not. Cool, cool. Okay, so today we are gonna have a session about tree plantations. So the objective will be to like teach you or like let you know about the need and necessity of going for this change in lifestyle, or actually starting to have this one basic sapling or one basic plant to be grown at your own home. So that's the idea. And once you all do that, I hope that you get this thing in yourself and you are able to communicate it to your near and dears and make sure that this thing is carried out. Because as I am like a person who have been in this industry from the past 3 years, I feel that not everything can be done by these 2% of sustainability professionals or the government employees who are working in the pollution control boards and the government bodies who are working rigorously to make sure that the emissions of the pollution should be curbed down. We cannot do it alone until and unless we all try to have that basic mindset of being eco-friendly and trying to do something for the environment. So there is a lot of things for sure, but we can have baby steps. So the first thing that you can all try to do is to know the need and necessity of having the greenery around you. So once we have that, obviously you will be like learning a lot by your own, and it's all self learning at the end of the day. So I hope that I'm able to deliver you the importance of having tree plantations or importance of having trees nearby your house. So let's get started. So let me just give you a small introduction about us. So who we are. So we are an environmental NGO. We started our operations in the year 2008, and since then we have been actively working towards biodiversity remediation and environmental projects, where we have been doing a lot of projects with organizations and corporates. So we have been acclaimed with a lot of government bodies, a lot of media channels have approached us and accredited us with good rewards, and also we have got a good number of following in the social media, which makes us one of the best NGOs in the current country so far. So we are like also one of the best NGOs in tree plantations currently. I can say you we are the number one NGO in tree plantations in the India, in the country. So yeah, we do plantations all over India, and we have got our projects pan India. And I think we are gonna have this objective of planting 10 crore trees by the year 2025. The reason behind it is that we are wanting to take India one step closer to its sustainable development goals. So now sustainable development goals is something that United Nations has given for every country in the world. So India is also in it, and by the year 2030 and 2050, we are going to have our sustainable development goals met. So this is going to be one step of trying to have it. Like it's a huge initiative, but 10 crore trees is just a very small number. But once we do that, we will surely go towards the next step of trying to curb our emissions by other strategies and solutions. So we have planted around 10 lakh trees so far. So it's a great step, and we are gonna go towards that mark of planting 10 crore trees. And yep, I'll just tell you about our projects. and this is who we are. And you will be able to connect that why we are like the best and why we are like really passionate about it, because we have been doing it from a long time. And I think we all are having that objective, like as a team, to make sure that others should know the importance of having the awareness or the mindset of being eco-friendly. So these are our projects. I'll just quickly brief you. So Paid Lagao is our iconic project. In this we have a lot of activities going on. We have urban plantation and rural plantation. So this is where we plant trees. And the next is sustainable solutions. It is nothing but that any organization or any corporation who has got the carbon footprint, they are like audited, they are like analyzed, and once it is analyzed and mapped, we try to deliver strategies and solutions by giving them the eco-friendly practices. So this is nothing but trying to know their exact carbon footprint. And the green celebrations is something that comes under sustainable solutions, where we all have a lot of activities inside a corporation or an organization where they go for celebrations like corporate events. We try to create a very clean and eco-friendly event. We give them a strategical solution where you can have a zero footprint event. So that is what green celebrations is. And we are like diverging to make sure that every celebration that's taking place should be having its own environmental footprint audited. So we are into that step. So we are taking baby steps in terms of all the other projects, but Paid Lagao and sustainable solutions is our like really like big projects. The annual green tutorials is also the project where we try to deliver the seminars to the colleges and organizations, to make sure that all of us have that awareness in us. And not only that organization is taking a CSR initiative, but also we as individuals take CSR initiatives and do something for the environment by just trying to communicate the ideas or the lessons that we learn in this session. So that's the AGT we have. Green Campus is something we collab with universities and colleges. So we give them the like seminars and lectures, because we all believe that youth is very important in trying to bring a sustainable change for the future. So this is what I will be discussing in the forthcoming slide, that how we all can try to make sure that we start up and we make sure that there is a very significant change in this environment. And Project Jal is what we do in wastewater, and we do like rejuvenation of lakes and water bodies. So we have been doing a lot of water body rejuvenation. Like 5 of the biggest lakes in Greater Noida had been developed by us. So this is one of the projects where we also get a lot of requests and inquiries. And the sustainable village is something that we give back to the rural communities, because it is very important that once we take water from them, once we take the resources from them, once we take the food from them, we don't give them anything back. But it is really important, and it is high time now that we give back to the farmers, we give back to the rural community. So we have like 3 major programs in it. We have agroforestry, we have women empowerment, where we teach people like some skills like wall painting, or trying to ask them to manage their finances by having some strategies. So this is all about sustainable village. The last project is Zarurat, where we try to collect things from the organizations and donate it to the people who are in need. So this has been like endorsed by Amazon, and we have been doing this from a very long time. So these are our projects. So let's just get to the presentation. This is the reason why I was explaining, is because you all should know that we are a team of all passionate individuals who have got like wide number of opportunities coming up in the future. We need a lot of brains, and we need a lot of people who can actually create an impact, or change the society in terms of sustainability. Okay, so right now I think there is like a mosque nearby, and I believe there will be a prayer azan. So let's just take 2 minutes if you all like agree with it. Yeah. Sorry, it was just an announcement. I think there's nothing else. So right now we will get to this presentation. So before we get, let's just have this mandatory awareness, right? So why are we supposed to think environmentally? Why are we supposed to be sustainable and eco-friendly? Is what the question is. So if you could look at this picture, then you can see that there are these two children who are wearing masks. You can see them, they are not wearing because of this COVID-19, but because of the air pollution and the surrounding activities which has been caused by human activities and development. So you see residential communities having emissions, you see transportations. Because of this there is global warming. Because of all this there is like pandemic, like there is disasters like forest fires. You can see that there are a lot of issues happening, and this is happening right in front of our eyes, right? So just giving you one point about this pandemic, right? What is happening is like we are supposed to be fit and immune, right? And our immunity is not at its mark currently because of the reason that we are inhaling this air which is corrupted already. If our air is clean and pure, imagine the immunity which we have will be at 100%. But the sad truth is that we are like having an immunity at 80 to 90% because of the pollution. And in some places like Delhi, if you see, there is a lot of air pollution, that our immunity is automatically downgraded to 8, like 70 to 60, right? So automatically you're susceptible for any kind of virus to get you, like sick. So we should believe that our vaccine is environment. Our air is supposed to be the vaccine to help and make us cure. So let's just get us more aware about it. Let's just see that these things can be like addressed. The first thing that we have to do is that address that there is an issue. Then we should take baby steps to make sure that we solve these issues. And as I'm saying, collectively we are responsible for this. And we can only make sure that we all do this once we have that mindset within us. So yep, let's just do something and make sure that we like create an impact. And let's get to the next slide, and hopefully like get some interactions going on.
Ash, can I interrupt you for 1 second, please? I think there
Yep.
are some people
Sure,
waiting
sure.
in the lobby. So let me just
Mm-hmm.
pick this out for like 1 second. I'm gonna reclaim the host this thing and ask you to present it. Okay? Give me one
Sure,
second.
no worries. Yep.
But you're still able to present, so I think this is
Yeah, that's good.
all right. Perfect.
Okay. So shall I start? Okay. So now, guys, I just want you all to like turn on your mics and just give me some answers, because see, this is supposed to be an interactive session, right? And I want you all to like give me some points about the benefits of trees. So the entire session about today is to have tree plantations. So just let me know, okay, what you all think that what trees do for us. Like, what are the benefits of trees? Anybody? Like one advantage.
It
Yes, the
grows
bouquet.
the
Yep.
yeah it
Ilan,
grows
Ilan.
underground, yeah, it grows the underground water level.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good.
it also acts as a sound barrier to societies and all this, and also protects our birds to uh, from dying, or they get
Mm,
fruits.
great. Biodiversity. So you said that it gives us what, it rejuvenates our underground water. The good. It acts as our sound barrier, which means that it reduces the noise pollution. It makes the city denser, and it gives us good amount of societal pleasure. And I believe the last point that you said is that it acts as an attraction for birds, right? So very good points.
Yeah,
So these are like 3 points, and it's good. The other simple points also, like you can start up, right? Anybody? Now I want someone else to just say what can be. So simple points, like it is like I will say you one point. It absorbs carbon dioxide. So what is the other point?
It prevents soil
Guys, so
erosion.
every, yes, it is good soil erosion. So it also helps in trying to make our in underground rigid. So that is what soil erosion is. It makes our buildings stand tall. And once we try to construct tall buildings, what we do is we dig 60 feet underground and we just like eradicate all the water from there, making the nearby land also susceptible to damage. So right now, if we have a lot of trees, what would happen is our soil will be intact, the erosion will not happen. And it's a good point. And there are various points, like I have like around 10 15 points, but I'll just like ask three more points. Once I get these 3 points, I'll tell you the other points. So it's very interesting that you guys have said that, rather than saying that it gives us oxygen, it absorbs CO2. That's what I believe it should be there in all of you. So again, three more points, guys, come on. What are the benefits of, when you look at a tree, what do you feel like personally, like what does it bring to you? Fruits.
Um, it supports wildlife.
Mm, yep, that's good.
Keep
Because
health
wild,
too.
Trees provide minerals and raw materials to industries.
yeah, very good. So it also gives us fruits for us to eat and consume and stay healthy, right? Right,
Yes.
it supports livelihood. It gives the farmers the livelihood to like make a business and make sure that they are having a sustainable livelihood for themselves. So like there are like n number of advantages, right? And speaking about the technical aspects of having trees, is that once you're like traveling in any locality where you have a lot of trees, right, what will happen is you feel that there is a breeze of air passing nearby. You see that a very cool air is
Yes.
hitting you, right? The reason is that first it is acting as a carbon sink. It is absorbing the oxygen, it is absorbing the carbon dioxide and giving it oxygen. But the best thing about it is helping you to save your money. If you're living in a building, like in a place where you don't have trees, and you're like having like around like 15 towers or like at least 10 floors of a building, and you are like getting a lot of heat, right? In summers you're supposed to make sure that you turn on your air conditions. Imagine in a locality where you have trees, the outside temperature is also 2 to 4 degrees Celsius lesser, that your internal temperature of the house will be not that much above the particular level of temperatures, that you don't make sure that you don't switch on your air conditions frequently, which means that you are saving your own money. So there are like localities in India currently where you can see it has also been recognized by governments. Like in Mumbai there is an area called Powai, that like majority of the places in India has to be in such a way that you don't have to rely on external conditions. So when I was talking about air conditions, that is the major cause for the ozone depletion, right? If you see a lot of chlorofluorocarbons in EVs, and like bachpan se we've been like reading this, right, in 12th and 10th, like air pollution is having ozone depletion is caused by the refrigerants that has been contaminating the air, the chlorofluorocarbons, HFCs, right? So all these things are really like really important for us to know. And the temperature is very important firstly, because if we have trees, the temperature is good, and because of the temperature we are not like relying more on the external appliances. And also that is helping us to have our environment in its place. So just first point, if you could read, we have a global average temperature which has been rising like very steadily and above the industrial period, like since 1850.
Let's just wait for a second. I think there's some network issue.
Am I back? Sorry, I'm sorry. Like I think I have a very poor connection here in my flat. Okay, guys, so yeah, let's just continue. So the first point, I think the temperature is there. So just quickly, I'll read you all this so that you get this awareness in you, get this points that why it is important for us to like start working on the environmental activities, and why it is important for you all to like do something for the environment. Because if we see, we human beings like account only 0.01 percentage of all life forms, but we are responsible for destroying 83 percentage of everything which is existing in this world. So it's a sad truth, but at the same time, it is something that we should address, and we should start doing something by right now. If we not do something right now, then we are gonna face issues for sure. Like cities, if you see, there are like people who are not getting water. There is a city in South Africa where you don't get any water right now, so the only water that they're getting is very limited amount of water per day, like 20 kiloliters per day for every person. Even the MLA or the chief minister of that city, Durban, has to like go through that amount of water. So it is like sad that we are like deteriorating our own resources. So let's just start and let's just act upon it. So the next thing is like a warming of zero point 0.5 degree. In India, we are going to have a very high amount of temperature increase. So 40 percentage of world population will have no access to drinking water. Again, it's because the reason that we have constructed so many buildings that we don't have water for us at truth. So 88 million people lack access to safe drinking, and 26 people practice open defecation, a critical factor for waterborne illness. So this is where we need to think back, where rural people are like what they're doing and what is supposed to be done to make sure that a lot of environmental defecations is not done. So again, this is all in under the points where I'm saying is that we are the responsible by like seeing all these things and not doing anything. So the reason why I'm talking about trees is the one simple thing that you as an individual right now can do is to offset your carbon footprint. And to offset any footprint, you are like supposed to like create a positive thing. If you're trying to do something negative, then obviously positive is something that you should be keeping in mind, right? But what has been happening is people have been doing negative things like for a long time, and they haven't realized that there has to be something positive, which is because the reason is the money, the critical factor of finances, the planning behind it was not done accordingly. The reason why construction building, any building that has been constructed should have had its own sustainable development plan, but sadly it was not done, it was not happen in industries. No industries had got its like proper sustainability vision set. But right now it's all getting in a notice, it's all like getting stringent, and it's hopefully like we are gonna come out of it. So yes, that is the reason that we should have a plan of trying to offset it. So all these issues could be nullified when we try to plant at least 7 to 8 trees as an individual, as 7 billion people. So like every individual in this world, when they try to plant some trees in a place where you can see that this can be taken up and we can use it, rather than throwing a garbage or a dustbin or like keeping it idle. Rather than planting trees, you will be having good amount of air, and also it is going to save the world. So these all these issues can be saved. And outdoor and household air pollution causes 7 million premature deaths. Again, you see air pollution. So again, it needs the problem. The solution will be to plant trees and purify the air. And the last point is that 76% of Indians live in places that do not meet the air quality standards. And very sad truth again. And there has been a research given by an article saying that in India, wherever you're staying, you are a person who is smoking at least 4 to 5 cigarettes, even though if you're a non-smoker. And if you're in Delhi, you're smoking like 7 to 8 cigarettes per day, even though if you're a non-smoker. So this is the very hard truth. So I hope you all like understood it, and you just had to like think about it. I just didn't want to scare you all, but it's part of the responsible job that I have to make sure that everyone knows the issues which is currently prevailing. And as an individual, we should start this mindset, or start this revolution of trying to communicate your ideas to your society or to your community by asking them, to support your ideas. So the main objective of this entire session is going to be to start yourself to grow at least one sapling, and once you're confident and once you are able to do that, you can take it up to other people and try to make sure that there is a produce or a yield coming out of your society. By this there will be a barter system. For example, if you as like 15 families together make sure that there is a terrace which is cultivating tomatoes, it can be like used by yourself, and the excess amount of fruits and vegetables can be given to the nearby societies where some other fruits and vegetables are grown, which reduces your transportation and commuting things to the supermarkets and reliability of having the food grown from different produce. So this is going to be the major impact. And in Chennai there is a city, and in Chennai there is a place where you have like a very large number of people trying to do this, barter system of kitchen farming. So this has happened in India. It's a good thing. I hope that it comes up in other cities as well, where you try to cultivate your own produce and give it back to the communities, so that the important factors which I will discuss right now is that is reduced. Number one is the amount of chemicals that we have right now. So these
Um,
are like small points. I'll
Mr. Ashla, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but we
Yeah.
can't see your screen. I think that's an issue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should share it again, right? I didn't know about it. Mhm. So there was a request like to switch on the video, I believe. After that, I think, okay, let me get back. Okay. You guys able to see? I didn't like present that. I'm still in this slide. Are you guys able to see the screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was in this, it was in this slide, and I was covering the point where I was telling about the air pollution and 76% of Indians. So I think the next slide is this, and I didn't move a slide ahead of it. So yes, I was telling about the awareness mindset, and once we all get this mindset in us, we are going to like be the representatives of our societies to change it and to make sure that we bring some considerable change in it. Okay, so yep guys, let's start with the presentation of like uh how to like start the plantation. So like I'll tell you some other points which will like make you aware, I hope. So these points will be like adding more value to the need and necessity of having your own produce at your home. So the population is increasing, so we all are like reliable on the produce. But imagine if the produce is happening in a place where a lot of fertilizers is used. That fertilizers is completely manufactured and fabricated in in an industry where you have a lot of carbon emissions. So this is causing harm to the environment, right? So if you're not going to that area, we are not trying to get reliable on that aspect and try to have our own produce, then there is a lot of emissions which is curbed right away. So this thing is like very important, that people who are suffering from hunger could be like benefited, because a lot of food is wasted because of the reason that it has to be like good, and it has to be like fresh. A lot of sprays and chemicals is being applied, and that is what is being consumed by a majority of people in our country. And though we wash it, it has some amount of residue, and we need to like completely wash it with hot water so that it doesn't have any kind of chemicals in it. Yet if we have, imagine if we grow our own produce, what will be the benefits, which I'll be saying in the next slide. So the next thing is about the percentage of like chemicals, and the amount of issues that is happening to the children who are consuming this poisonous vegetables. So people are suffering from, like there are cases where like children are suffering from ADHD. There is like a lot of issues behind it. And again, if we like calculate the amount of poison that we are consuming, it is about 11 liters per year. So these all are like points which makes us aware, which makes us like that why are we like in this situation. Yet there is a solution right in front of our eyes, which is nothing but trying to have our own kitchen garden or trying to have our own sapling, which gives us one or two like produces. Like you can start with one sapling, like any sapling, like you can have your own cherry plantation or you can have your own pomegranate plantation. Anything which you can like get an yield is something that you're like removing the burden out of the environment. So a lot of benefits. Again, you have fresh fruits, your nutritive value is increased, your kitchen garden save money, because if you like try to uh, go and procure fruits from outside, obviously it's going to cost you more because of the charges, like hidden charges and taxes. But if you have it in your own home, it would take some time, but once you get it, like within 6 months or 7 months, when you have your own produce, you don't have to pay anything for it. It's your own produce, which is like going to save you a lot of money. So that's again a benefit. So gardening can help you to burn up calories. Again, that's a very interesting thing, that when you're like working on it, when you're like trying to bend down, trying to take on weeds, trying to clean the plants and leaves and all, so you get some like activity going on there. So waste land around your house, you can like put it into some use. So you can have compost, which is again a very important thing. uh, I think all of you know compost, what a compost is, right? Do you want me to get some more points on it? Because again, compost is a very essential part of our tree plantation activity. So no worries, you have some idea, right, guys? You would have studied in our like 10th and 12th in science subjects, right? Compost is something that we try to make the wet waste which we generate from our house into a very useful resource called as black gold, which is used for giving us the fertility, increasing the fertility of our soil. So yeah, last point is gardening is a natural stress reliever. So I will explain you the importance of having a compost in this slide. So compost is coming under your soil mix, the soil mix which you are supposed to have for your own tree plantation. So let me just start up with the beginners guide need. So what you all need to know is the place or the site which you have around your house, or anywhere inside your society. Or if you're like not having any feasibility to go out of your flat, you can have it inside your house as well. You can, if you have a window, if you have a window sill itself, it's enough for you to make sure that you can like start, you can create your own plant. So the number one is the site, the second is the type of plant. So you should first like do this research of knowing what kind of plants is better for your own environment, society environment. Like if you're like living in a place which is having a lot of sunlight coming up, then you can go for trying to you can go for like vegetables. If you're like having limited amount of sunlight, like if there are a lot of buildings nearby and you're not being able to fetch that much amount of sunlight through your window, then you can go for some herbs, right? So a lot of research has to be done, but first I would ask you to is go for a very simple plant, very basic idea of trying to plant a tomato sapling, or trying to plant spinach. There are a lot of saplings available. When you go to a nursery, they will give you some seeds, they will also give you some soil which will be helpful for you to grow your own plant. But I would ask some more things to be done in that soil so that you get that plant, because the nurseries, they don't give the soil which is like very very nutrientful. So I can like give you some points on that. So first again, site, type of plants, soil mix, tools you can like get the itineraries, you can just google it, whatever tools. You just have like three things that you should get. You just get gloves, and you just have to get some scissors to cut off the weeds which grows, and you need to get some like shovel or some or you can take a scoop of like soil. So these are like the tools that is required. Now when you are selecting the type of the plant, it comes to the crops. So again, crops is very important for you to like grow. If you are like growing something which is non-native, which is not like helpful, one tip or one advice, if someone already is doing this kitchen gardens nearby your house, you can ask them that what kind of crops you can grow. Or anywhere like in within 1 or 2 kilometers of locality, in any nursery if you have, they will give you good suggestions that this in this area, in this part of the city, you can grow this crop. I will give you the names of the crops as well in the forthcoming slides. So the crops is important. Next is to have a garden maintenance plan. So this is where you should be very much careful that what type of fertilizer that you're choosing. So if you're choosing something which is made of artificial components, it is bad. So you should have your own natural fertilizer. So this should be done simultaneously once you start do the plantation. So once you have a lot of wet waste, like your vegetable peels, the eggshells, all your wet waste, so you should segregate it. And now it is important for you to understand what is wet waste and what is dry waste. Wet waste is something which is organic, which is made of food, and which is something that you can compost it. Compost means the word decompose, right? Decomposition of plastic or any kind of material, it takes some amount of years to get it decomposed at particular time. So organic material gets composed very early, and non-organic material like plastic, aluminium, other materials get a lot of time to get composed. So the decomposition is known as the composition, the compost. And wet waste is something that you should segregate it. So a lot of people do what they do is they just put everything in one garbage and they just throw it out. That is why a lot of issues has happened in terms of landfills, in terms of treating the waste, because once the wet waste is burned, the emissions that comes out of wet waste is not that harmful as compared to the waste that we throw which are not wet waste. So like batteries, you throw your electronic waste in the like in the same dustbin. And the municipal corporations, they can't segregate in such massive levels, right? So the first thing that you as an individual can do is to like not plant trees but get this waste thing done, because obviously this is really an issue right now. And in Canada there is huge fines lifted to the people who are living in these residential communities who are not segregating it. So it has started to come into the residential communities, and hopefully it is going to come in our country and our cities as well. But before it comes, let's just get aware and let's just do that. We can have two separate bins and we can do it. So now what I'm saying about the maintenance is that you should have this wet waste to be composted in your own locality, in your own home. Also, if you have a bucket, you just have to add some soil, add some fertilizers, and put this wet waste and just close it over and just shake it every 3 days, so that within 1 or 2 weeks what you get is a very good organic soil. Now this you can take it with your own hands, you can smell it, and you can check the amount of like nutrients that would have. That is nothing but your compost that you should add to your plantation soil. Okay, so this is a very important step. So you can just check on Google or any like website what how organic compost is made. Like we throw a lot of organic waste every day, right? A lot of vegetable peels, a lot of eggshells, a lot of food waste, leftovers, everything that is like made of food is something that you can keep it as wet waste category, and you can like compost it and you can get a best soil. And now in this composted soil which is made of your own house has got so much nutrients that it can like support any amount of plant growth in a very less time, rather than going to the nursery and asking them to give the soil which you're paying also like 100 200 rupees to get that amount of soil. You can like get it in your house free of cost, just in some matter of time, like 1 or 2 weeks. So this is important. And these this also, if you're like having in a very huge quantity, you can sell it to nurseries in a huge amount. Like people who have like at least 3 kgs of compost, they get 100 to 300 no, sorry 500 to 1000 rupees as a basic amount. So this is something that you can make money also, right? Like this is the concept of waste to money, and this is what our ancestors had been doing. But right now, because of urbanization, we all have forgotten it. So okay, that's the point right now, to have compost. Then is the watering, the point of not watering too much and not watering too less. That's the important thing. So once you select the crops, you all will get the amount of water. And the final 2 points is the fertilizing and weed control. You can get natural fertilizers anywhere, and you just have to like spray it not too often. Like you should do at least twice a day. And you should have weed control, which is nothing but there are some activities like mulching, where you need to make sure that there is no extra weed grown in your plant. So all this is something that you do it when you're doing it in a massive scale. So once you try to do it in one plant, or once you try to do it like 2 3 plants, you would be able to like see what is weed control and how you can prevent it. And obviously once you do this in 2 3 plants, you will be easily doing it in multiple plantations. Like I will show you this. This is first step of trying to have your own plant. So you can take any container, you can take any bucket, also any like Zomato leftover boxes, or any buckets which you can fill some soil or mud and try to put some saplings. So these are for like herbs, the small dabbas. But if you're going for some vegetables, you can go for something like pots, so that the root is like penetrated deep within and it doesn't get withered off. So obviously when you're growing a vegetable, you should like have a big pot, like not too big, but this is the size of having it. Some 12 to 15 inches of like a pot is enough. But if you're like growing pomegranate, or if you're growing custard apple, or if you want to grow something like spinach or kale leaves or bay leaves, bay leaves, tej patta, it's a very like important ingredient in a lot of Indian households. So all this can be done in your own house by like keeping it in a small container. So you can first select the size, right? So once you select it, the next step is to select your location. So if you're having a backyard, if you're having a society where you can like take at least 25 30 meters of area, you can just plant it like minimum 12 to 15 plant saplings you can put it inside, and you can use it. But if you're not able to get this, as I said, you can go with like 1 or 2 plantations or of your own choice at your own home, and you can keep it above your fridge, in anywhere near kitchen or anywhere near your window. For the initial 2 weeks you need not get sunlight, but if you're like having the growth, then you need to make sure that it is getting sunlight at least 4 to 5 hours minimum a day. And if not, make sure that you get some lighting at your house which can like generate the photosynthesis that is required. So obviously that is enough for like initial days. And if you're planting like 1 or 2 saplings, I think that is enough. But if you're like going for a lot of plantings, a lot of plantations, then it requires a lot of sunlight. And I think right now I have gone to the like 50% of what has to be done. Obviously you guys would have some doubts, right? So please just shoot out your questions, like what will be your like doubts as of now, because it's important for me to know that you are in sync. Are you guys in sync? That's the question. Are you guys able to get?
So we are able to mention whatever we wanted to convey.
Hmm? Okay, so no worries. Please note down your questions. We can have this question and answers like at the end. So we are going to reach the end of the presentation. So now it's a very important part, because right now it's something that you all should like choose. Like it is not like one shot you would be able to master it. It would take a lot of efforts. But once you try to choose the right planting, obviously it's gonna help you.
Shantara.
Uh, there is this plant selection. One's mic is on. Okay, so this is important because right now, as I said, if you're going for a very, commercial plantation, something like if you have like 25 30 meters across, or if you have like at least like a backyard where you can have this, 6 to 7 plantations going on, then you can do it with this bitter gourd, brinjal, cucumber, because this is the best fruits that you can like try to best vegetables that you can try to grow initially. But if you're like having the idea of growing one plantation, then obviously you can choose anything like beets, you can choose anything like pepper, you can choose radish, you can choose tomatoes. And when I'm talking about choosing a plant, you need to make sure that you also choose another plant which is going to support it. Now the supporting plant is also called as companion planting, because these two plantations support each other in their own like growth stage. So this will help the weeds also to not to grow once you're choosing this companion planting, because if you're choosing a single plant, then you need to take care of the weeds by yourself. But if you're going for companion planting, what happens is that these plants support each other so well that you just have limited amount of weed control to do. Weed is nothing but the insects, the the external agents that grow out of the plant, which you need to just clean it off and just spray some fertilizer and pluck it out and do some mulching is something that I will say that why it is important. So first of all, I'll just tell you that what kind of plant that you're choosing. So you should like have any good research to be done in terms of what. So carrots also is a good choice. So uh, depending on the produce, depending on the yield, you should decide that what is going to be good for your climate. So if you are like having like good amount of sunlight coming out, then you can go for good amount of vegetable like lettuce, like kale, as I said, like tomatoes. So this is the basic guide to go for. And if you want, I can share this PPT, you can like have a good look on it. And once you try to choose your plant, now the next step is to get the soil, right? So as I said, now the compost is ready. So you should take some amount of soil from anywhere that you get, like any soil from your society which is dry, which is not like clay or not like the compost. It can be any the soil is like going to be like a binder. It's going to support the growth of the roots, and also it is going to help the compost stay in the soil. So you can take any soil and place it in your own pot or in that cup of in the disposable plates or any cup that you're going to plant your plant or the sapling. So you should like add that compost with the soil with 2-3 ingredients, which is like organic ingredients. If you go to a basic nursery, they would be giving you some organic fertilizers. The best organic fertilizer as of now is this gav mutra, which is very important to enhance the nutrients of the soil, which will help the soil to stay in its own state for a long time. And that is available in any nursery that you go. It can be like given in 200 ml or 300 ml bottles. So you should, once you take that, you should like put the seeds inside that pot. You can put the seeds like anywhere, like 4 to 5 seeds, that's it. Any one seed, if it germinates, that's your success. So once the seeds is germinating, you should like water every day. So that's the basic practice. And you should not water so that it gets over flooded. You should water in such a way that it is remained dry, it is remained wet. So that there is a very simple rule of trying to water of the 1/3 of the size of the pot. So you just have to water 20% of the volume of the pot, or the like volume of the carrier of your plant. The vessel that your plant is being put at, that 20% water is the thumb rule. So the next thing is mulching. So this is only done when you're doing outside, or when you're doing it in a place where you're like planting professionally, like 5 to 6 amount of planting. And if you're not going for like that much big, if you're doing it in your own home, mulching is not required. And mulching helps us to stop the growth of weeds, just to let stop the let of insects. And also it protects the soil also by not letting the sunlight soak all the nutrients. This acts as a barrier to like protect the nutrients and the moisture of the soil. So this is the basic thing of mulching. Next is the watering. As I said, like if you cannot water, then there will be no garden. So obviously water is a very important resource. And also you should have this idea of trying to water limitedly, so that it doesn't flood. So if your plant is young, then you should water at least once or twice in the morning and the night. And if it is getting like matured over the day, over the time, you should like water at least twice or thrice in a week. Because again, if you try to water at like third or fourth week, like how you're doing in the first week, it will create issues to the health of the plant, right? So you should not get it flooded, so that it has already got its moisture content in the roots, and it is able to grow in its on its own. So you just have to water twice or thrice in a week. So this is about watering. And again, about fertilizing, you should like know what plant you're growing. And there are some like how human beings have got their own nutrients, their own like amount of calcium, magnesium, sulfur. Every like plant has got its own nutrients which has to be taken care. So the compost which you're making is gonna take care of all these nutrients. But if you're not able to make this compost of wet waste, this is what I was talking, the one which you can take it in your hand. This is like something called as black gold, because it has got so much value. Any farmer would be able to like get it and like pay a lot of money when you say them that it is a fresh compost made from all the organic waste at this particular time. So because a lot of compost, and when you're doing it in a massive scale, you are adding a lot of other ingredients and you are like decreasing the quality. But if your compost is 100% organic, by having all the organic waste getting composted, then it is having huge value. Yet if you're not willing to sell it and you're like having your own plantations, just have to like periodically change the soil, not change, just keep this soil nearby to the plants so that the nutrients is enhanced in a consistent basis. So this is what the compost is. Once you compost your plants, the nutrients of the plants are healthy, and it will like stay long for a very long time. It will stay healthy for a very long time. So the next thing is weed control. Weed control, as I said, it is something you have to do it on a periodic basis if you're planting it outside. Once you do this in a regular way, we will get to know the nutrient deficiency. You will get to know once your plant is like not green in color. Once the leaves are like having some issues, then you should understand that there are some deficiency and your plant will die in a matter of time. So the important part of this is that the soil mixture is not good, the nutrients that has been supplied to the plant is not good. So very important thing, the planting, the soil mixture and the maintenance strategy. So all these two things has to be taken care. You should have a small plan or a charter sheet prepared where you like write down the important things that you have to do with the compost and with the fertilizer. So this is about the nutrient deficiency. And if you're like having it inside your house, there will be no insects. But if you're planting it outside, then you should have insecticides which has to be sprayed regularly, which is again you can like spray the rice water which you're like boiling, the waste water that you're going to throw, that the water the rice has soaked is a very good insecticide which you can just spray it in the plants, and it helps the plants to not get any insects getting attacked. So this is a very natural fertilizer that you can apply. And when you get your harvest, right, that is again important. You should not pluck the roots, you should just pluck the fruit. That you will be obviously doing because the plant that you have grown has made a connection to you. You will like not harm it once it is like in the mature stage. Like it will take around 6 months at least to get your first fruit or first vegetable or first spinach or herb, I believe. So that's about harvesting. And this is where I believe that in future you all would be able to do one or two plantations nearby your society or any place where you get the land. Or you can try to work with any farmers also, hopefully trying to know how this cultivation is done, because this is the ideas that you can get. And once you're doing this in a residential community, you can go for such designs, like where you can support the growth of the plants like this. So this is for the plants which are grown like watermelon, like potatoes, which is like having a lot of support to be required. Support is very important for plants to get you the produce. So this is raised bed kitchen garden where you can like get it from the nurseries, or you can like make a DIY of your own. You can get a cardboard and you can assemble it. And this is something that you can make out of bricks. This is the design. So you can first do one plant. That is what I would suggest. You can like start its like video. You can like start recording its growth. You can like talk to it, because plants can listen to what you say. They can communicate it once you like talk to them. And that's how you get the plantations like successfully done. So if you could ask a farmer, they would say you that the trees, they have this connection within themselves which protects a lot of biodiversity, which helps the other plants and the other animals to just survive. It is because that they understand us, so we should give them back. So I think that's it. That's about the presentation. And any questions from anybody, I will be happy to answer. I would have like not missed. I mean, I would have missed some questions like what has to be answered, because you guys would have a lot of questions, I hope, right? So I think I've covered all, but
Hello.
yeah.
Yes, sir. So I have a question related to compost soil.
Mm-hmm.
If we add compost soil in the pot,
Mm-hmm.
it will dissolve in this. I mean, it will dissolve after months in soil, or we have to remove old soil and then after we have to put compost soil.
Okay, good question. So once you water it, what happens is the compost gets dissolved. So you will be like getting
Okay.
this lower of height. Once you see that the height is getting lowered, like after a month or two, you should add more amount of compost, not soil, because if you add soil, it is not going to support the plant growth. So you should add only compost.
Okay.
You can like, either if you're not able to get compost of your own, you can get it from the nursery, or you can just ask
O-
Black Soil, they will give you that. So that's it.
Okay. Okay. And
That's it.
one more question.
Mhm.
How to plant a companion plant? I mean, in the same pot, or I mean, in the same area, and what would be the distance?
If you're having this idea of planting outside, then you should plant it like in a spacing of 3 meters. You should not like plant it very nearly, so that it doesn't disturb each other. It can be placed like 3 meters apart. If you're planting companion
Okay.
planting at home, you can plant it in a same pot, but it should not be a very small pot. Again, obviously it should be something that it can
Okay.
accommodate. But if you're having space issues in your house, then you can go for like small pots with single plantation, because at home companion planting is not gonna work. It's just something that you
Okay.
can get the yield. It's just a variety, it's just a diversification. It's just like if this doesn't work out, the other one will work out. That's the satisfaction that you will get. But obviously you can go for like a single pot, or I mean like single pot which is bigger for companion
Okay.
planting.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So do sustainable approach of farming require more specific care these days due to acid rain? Well, good question. The rain that we are getting is acidic, obviously, because of the environmental pollution which has happened. So we if we do this approach of like spraying the fertilizer, which is not having any kind of chemicals, that itself is like a very good step of protecting it from other other agents, like be it insects, be it the air itself, be it the water which we getting. But obviously you should protect it from like severe amount of acidic water. But yeah, you should spray very good amount of, like as I said, the rice water, right? It's a very good fertilizer. It is something that you should not throw off. And again, that water is like should be stored, and it can be used in your, it should be sprayed upon your leaves and your plants, so that it doesn't get affected. So one question I guess you should like ask, I mean, you should all like think about is, in case if you're not able to like water it, if you're like traveling out, if you're like going to your some like relatives or some place, and you're like locking it out, what will be the situation, right? Because you cannot like make the water plant it on its own. So the answer would be that if your plant is young, if your plant is like around 1 or 2 weeks, then you should not leave. You should be with it. You should like take care of it every day. Once the leaves start growing, then you can go for like a month or two, because the soil and the root of the water itself can be sufficient for its own growth. So that's the answer, I think. You can like think about it. Once you start doing it right, you will obviously get a lot of questions, and obviously you can ask, or you can mail me anytime. I'll be happily answering all the answers, answer all the questions. So is there any other questions?
So you said just
Hello.
about watering.
Hmm.
So in that case, if we leave the home,
Hmm.
we have seen the techniques of like we can put a plastic bottle or like dripping system.
Hmm.
Is that necessary
Yeah.
or it will not? I mean,
Again, it should not flood the pot. It should not make the plant get flooded, and the support of the plant should not get withered off. So if you're like having this dripping system consistently done on like the third or fourth week, then it's fine. That means that you're not like helping out to plant even after like third or second. But first 2 weeks, this dripping system won't be helpful because you don't know like the amount of water that dripping system is going to provide. You can just put 1 liter of water one time and keep it like aside 2 times a day, rather than like trying to put 1 liter like in 1 hour. And if it is exceeding, that means it is causing issues to your plant. So hopefully it is not going to affect. But dripping system is again, like as I'm saying, you should do it once it is like in the third or fourth week. So for the first 2 weeks, the conventional approach is the best way of trying to have your own plant getting its success. Okay.
okay, thank
So,
Yeah.
am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
So I
Pavitra.
need to ask.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
I need
Mm.
to ask, how do you see the modern farming that has come today? Like we see that the vertical farming or
Mm-hmm.
other kinds of crops that are grown inside the secured facility. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
it is a solution to the sustainable future?
Okay. In India, currently there are only three major agricultural fields who are like sustainable, who are having all the norms, all the sustainable checklist, ticked. And the other ones I don't know. The other ones I hope that they are also following it. But majority of them, they are like not sustainable. That's the answer, because a lot of farmers, they want to get profit, obviously. So what they do is they add a lot of fertilizers which are not healthy, which are artificially made, and that helps the taste of that vegetable to get deteriorated. Number one. Also, the life of that vegetable gets deteriorated if you like keep it idle for a lot of time. And the amount of toxic that it carries is very bad. So the first point about the sustainable way of farming, uh, the communities have started to endorse like organizations to plant crops for them in a nearby facility. And in future it is gonna happen in other countries. It has already started. In India, there are like 2-3 cities where there is like sustainable farms, where you get supermarkets nearby which is having organic fruits and organic farms. You can still get the organic fruits and organic plantations nearby. Then though it would be expensive, I believe it is healthy, and it is something that is gonna save you from a lot of other issues for the future. So it's like a very important thing. And the next thing which you said is about what? Vertical farming, right?
Yes, I think I missed one of the word. Can I say that, I want to ask about
Yeah,
vertical farming
sure.
and hydroponics?
Okay, hydroponic. So hydroponic system is again very expensive. It is something that you create by planting it without any kind of support, using water as your like base growth. You try to make sure that your plant is grown. It is not sustainable. It is something that is very artificial for me. I feel that it is like all technologically made. And whenever there is technology, there are consequences, because again, the number of energy that has created that is required to grow that amount of plant is like pointless. So hydroponic will not be helpful for a longer run. Every time you ask like what will be the best solution, our ancestors has given us the answer, because our ancestors are done in a conventional way using the organic approach. So that is the answer, by trying to like have a lot of area for plantations and also get the organic fruits and organic vegetables. Whereas coming for the vertical farming, it's something that we should take care, because right now in cities the environment is not so good, the outside air is not so good, the temperature, as I said, is so high that the plants get like really damaged. So it is very like sunlight, over amount of sunlight is also very harmful, but you cannot also control the amount of sunlight because it is a natural source. So it is best to make sure that you have a plant inside your house. In countries like Italy, in countries like Switzerland, you can do vertical farming. There has been a huge amount of success. In Mumbai, there has been non-native species of vertical farming, which is pointless, because whenever you're planting non-native species, it doesn't help anything to the environment. In fact, it is doing bad for the environment by giving out more carbon dioxide. So it is like you should plant on. So whenever you're planting anything, right, it should be like something which is native. Native is something which is organic, which is like helping out to the environment, which is like making sure that the air is cleaned. It obviously, a lot of trees are in India is native. Whenever you're walking and when you're feeling the cool breeze, it means the plants are native. But whenever you're seeing trees which is not giving out any amount of air, which is not giving any amount of cool breeze, is nothing but non-native species. So vertical farming is something that which I feel is aesthetic. It's just like look, like building ka look अच्छा करने के लिए लोग बना देते, but I don't feel it is like healthy and practical, like in the longer run it is not good. So that's the answer for your question, I hope. And hydroponics is also answered, I guess, right? So yeah, you should go for organic approach and conventional approach. So though, I think there's one more question. The damage we cause to the soil is most dangerous and incredible because that's for like revive the quality of soil. So there's some points including farming. Okay, so this is a very important point which Prince has said. It's a very like vast topic, Mr. Prince. I believe this lecture will be like not sufficient, but to keep it precise, the soil right now is really like toxic. But obviously, if we like consider to plant trees, right? Once we have this approach of making sure that we make our cities green, our entire area will be like cultivated. So right now a lot of people have been adding compost in a huge scale. like like every day you see a lot of compost machines getting discharged in cities, and it is where you get a lot of benefits. If you ask me, right now we are planting around like 8 lakhs 10 lakh trees in Navi Mumbai, and that area is like very like the place we are planting is like a landfill. Okay, it is where dump yard was there. So the entire area is toxic, the entire region is like full of chemicals. So in that region we are trying to develop this plantation. So we are digging like 3 feet deep, we are excavating the entire land, and then we are adding soil with compost. So it's something that compost is the answer, because that is how you can revive, or you can like give the nutrients. So anything which is organic is what the nutrients will be supplied. So the compost should be like very good, and it should not be very old as well. So a new compost with amount of right nutrients, and there is coco peat which is mixed with this compost, and the soil is revived. So homeopathy could control. Well, this is not something I would be able to answer, because I'm not a medical person. I am a sustainability engineer, and I don't feel I can like answer that, Mr. Aditya.
So last from my side.
Mm-hmm.
So during plantation on the
Mm-hmm.
roadside or in the building, because we
Mm-hmm.
have started a planting drive in our area, we have
Mm-hmm.
almost planted around 6 to 700 plants, trees of
Okay.
different types of saplings. So
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what we should take care of this. I mean, should we, on what distance we have to plant? We have to remove weeds around on roadside, etc. How to do? I mean, watering time, etc.
Okay, so this is coming under the maintenance strategy, right? So once you try to get this plantation itself, I believe that the amount of time that you have to spend on maintenance is important, because if you don't have maintenance plan, then obviously the plants is not going to survive. So what stage has these plants like come up right now?
We are buying trees of plants saplings around 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. We are buying right now not small plants. We are just
Hmm.
buying saplings around 6 to 8 months.
Okay. Well, I feel okay. Then obviously the person who is supplying, right, the nursery. I would give you the entire picture about it. The sad truth is the plants that the you are getting is something that is not organic. The soil that they are like cultivating it from is also like not very organic. Nurseries, they have this mindset of trying to give plants which is like showing some growth, and it will like get withered within years. Like once you're planting a tree, it should stand up for at least some of its like lifetime. Like 100 years is the time that a tree should stand up. And if it is anything near lesser than that, then it's a waste of time and it's a waste of money. So obviously the best idea is to plant a tree from start by your own in an organic way, where you have a lot of NGOs, where you have a lot of, there will be like nearby NGOs in your own locality, where you can get the expertise or the suggestions that the nursery is good, is the nursery is getting the sustainable practices done correctly or not. And if you're like doing it again, I'm just saying that if you're doing it for the sake of environment, it's good. You can like really get that return or any statement from the nursery itself that you should give us the maintenance plan for this. If not, you just don't procure from them, because I think it's the department, it's the headache of the nursery. It's not supposed to be your personal thing, because you will like really lose your sanity if you try to do the maintenance, because a lot of money
Yes,
will be
yes,
put onto the maintenance.
yes, yes. Thank you.
Hmm.
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
I have two questions. First one is that what is your opinion about coconut coir? Uh, is it good to use for planting or
Yes.
not? And the second question is whether how to get an idea what kind of plants are to be planted in what season, like,
Mm-hmm.
and so we can get an easy idea like what is the correct timing and way of planting them.
Okay. So I have this like all season plants which I have like shown, that you can choose any plants of this gourd, like bitter gourd, brinjal, cucumber, snake gourd, or pumpkin. So these are some plants which you can get the growth in any season, be it summer, winter, and you can keep it inside your house and you can like start planting itself. So that's about like what to be planted. And about cocoa peat, right? What is like what coconut? Or what did you say? Coconut water or you like coconut skin? What was the question?
No, sir, coconut coir, is it good to
Yeah,
use for the planting?
yeah.
Uh,
Okay, the shell, right? The coconut coir. It has the tendency to absorb water 30 to 40 times of its capacity. So obviously it is like something that we are using in a massive scale. That is the only way that we are able to retain the moisture content of the soil. So it can be added with your compost, it can be put into the soil, and it can be mixed with the compost also. So that is where you can like add it. It is going to help it if you are like planting it in a larger area. If you are planting it in your own house, you need not add, like if you are wanting to add one or two pieces or one or two like chunks of it, it is fine. But it's not required for like filling it. The main component is the soil compost. So once you have it intact, I think your plant will start growing. But if you're going for outside plantation, or if you're like having this mindset of Mr. Khilan, like how he said, like people are like trying to plant it outside the society, then you should have this strategy of planting it with moisture content, with soil. So it's always better to go with a experienced nursery who has got all this ideas of planting it and getting it done. But if you're planting it at your home, then you need not go for all this like external things. I hope that answers your
o-
question.
okay, sir. So one more thing. So I have
Yeah.
been composting in my house. I've been vermicomposting since a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe 6 to 8 months I've been composting, and
Very good.
I haven't tried coconut husk. Is it good to use for the compost or directly inside the soil?
You can like coconut husk is something that will take a lot of time because it is having a hard shell. It is a naturally water absorbing material, so you can like keep it outside. You cannot add it inside the soil, obviously. But if you like want to keep it outside the soil also, it is going to take up of a lot of time. So uh, the wet waste, whenever I'm saying wet waste, right, it has supposed to be like, which is like going to get into the dustbin and it is going to get decomposed in 1 or 2 days. But these things, naturally, if you think, it is not going to take that much amount of time to get decomposed, which means that your compost will like get piled up upon. And the vermicompost, you should like add so much that you would like get order, you would get like a lot of like microorganisms inside your compost, which will be like not helping your compost. So again, there is like some do's and don'ts, you should check it out. You should like add only things which are gonna get composted very early. So just hopefully that you don't like ruin the compost. And all the best for your future composting also. It's a good thing that you said. I hope that all of you like, try to do this.
Okay, okay, sir. So is can I use like that coconut husk can be used after shredding it, like
Hmm.
use by shredding it into small fragments, and after using that powdered husk in soil.
Yeah, if you're planting for your saplings, then you should use it as like even though you don't shed it, you can just like keep like the entire cocoa husk on the top, which will help it to like soak the water and not get it absorbed. So it is something that you can like place it at the top of the soil. And even you can like mix it with the soil also. As I said, it's not a problem. That is what I said earlier also. So you can add it in the soil, but not in the compost.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sir, I have few questions related to tree saplings. Few. So what we can plant uh,
Mm-hmm.
trees which requires less water, and also it what are the trees which are friendly for our environment, related to if you want to sustain wildlife, if you want to you know something like,
Okay, so
what
in
are the
India
trees? Yeah.
there are like 5 to 6 trees which you can go for, which is like all-time banyan tree is something that you can obviously plant. There is eucalyptus tree, which is a native tree. Again, this is relevant to the area which I am currently nearby living. If you're taking somewhere in Banaras, you should go for like jackfruit tree. If you're like living somewhere in Delhi, you should go for the coconut tree, because obviously a lot of benefit is like coming out of the trees which are like having long sustenance. So I feel you
Okay.
should like ask the nearby nursery people. They will be giving more like
Okay.
soil reports, soil analysis. So there are like multiple trees in multiple regions which you will get the answer of, obviously. I belong from Chennai, so obviously I can tell you that
Okay.
what is required to be planted there. But northern regions, there are like a lot of, like in some areas you would require some north and south. There are difference. There are a lot of differences.
Okay. So one more, like if you plant banyan tree and people,
Mm-hmm.
the societies
Mm-hmm.
are
People.
objecting these trees to plant in societies. The reason is that their roots few coming years.
You're mute.
Also, yeah, and also they grow. Their roots are. I mean, if they don't go down, they started to enter the some building pillars or something, building walls, etc. So they
Mm-hmm.
damage. What are the solutions for this banyan tree and people?
Again,
Where we can plant it?
you should like go for rural areas, because right now in urban areas you cannot obviously plant banyan trees. But if you're like trying to do this for the like outskirts of the city, then it's fine. If you're having this
Yeah.
idea of planting inside a society, then you should go for a plantation technique called Miyawaki forestation. So in Miyawaki
Okay.
forestation, you should like mix three to four different species of plants, and you should plant it very nearby to each other, so that any one of them will like start kicking off and start growing, and it will create its own forest and it will help its own growth. So you should just research on it, like try to research in Google Miyawaki forest. You will like get the
Yes.
answer for
Yes.
this. Okay, no worries.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if
Thank
you
you.
have any other questions also, you can like write it down or give me, in terms of mail. I can answer it. No worries.
So please, can you share your email ID on?
Okay, I'll just comment it, like text it. Yeah, Dhanisht, I think you can.
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. Ashok, for such an amazing session, and to all our audience for making it so interactive and getting your queries and doubts cleared. And our faculty were also here. Our professor, Dr. Anumita Shukla, was here, but she had to leave due to some um, uh, preoccupied thing. But she has thanked you, especially Mr. Ashok, for such a fruitful session. And we have amongst us our association advisor, Mr. Suresh Kumar Maurya. Sir, would you like to say a few words, please?
Yeah, I would like to say thank you, Mr. Arshad, for this beautiful and interactive session on this no technical topic. Because we as a student of the philosophy, as a
Mm,
discussant of the philosophy, are no a bit aware of this kind of technicalities related to the
mm,
plantation. So thank you for the no enlightening us on this no technical topics. And you are getting
no,
less number of the questions from philosophy students. It is just because we are not that much aware, but rather we should be aware of. But
mm,
actually, I have done a lot of farming. But I actually, whatever you discussed, I joined
mm,
you a bit later because we
mm.
were involved in the plantation drive of the college. So,
Okay.
but I have listened you carefully, and you have given so many, no,
Mm,
nuances of related to planting, and that was,
mm.
very good for us. And no, actually, we will have to, do something, on this particular thing. After doing
Yes.
that, we will be having some kind of questions. So,
Mm,
your lecture, will take some time to digest us because it was a
mm.
very new, and you can say it was a scientific. So this was the
Yes.
thing, and you have given me no very beautifully explained everything. And
Mhm.
one more thing I would like to say you that no, thank you very much because no, you are related to the Green Yatra, as I know,
Yes.
and this particular institution is very much busy particularly this pandemic.
Mm.
Actually, am I audible?
You got fluctuated in some places, but yeah, you are audible now, I guess.
No, so I think there's some network issue. Yeah, I think he's gonna join again.
Mm. Please mute.
Am I audible right now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
Actually, because
audible,
of the some
Mr.
network issue, huh? Actually, we
Yeah.
have a bit kind of instability in the connection. So thank you so much for coming here, sparing your priceless time. You must be so much busy during this pandemic time.
Mm.
So we will be hoping a more beautiful and interactive session in the future as well. So
Mm.
thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Suraj. Thank you. It's been a
Is he
pleasure.
here right now? Actually, I am now having some network issue. I think.
Okay, so with this, I think we have
Mm.
come to the end of our session, and we will be sharing Mr. Arshad's email ID with you all so that you can pass on all the questions that you have to him directly. Yes, sir. And apart from that, we will be putting this session on YouTube for all those who were not able to join us today due to various reasons. But once again, thank you so much, Mr. Arshad, for this. We are highly grateful to you and to all our participants who stayed put throughout this event and joined us in this journey. And hopefully, we will be able to commence our plantation drive from now. Yes, we will be providing you with the feedback form as well. And apart from that, I missed a very important point that our Suraj sir also mentioned that this morning we have officially commenced our plantation drive. Um, Suraj sir, along with our principal sir, um, Dr. S.P. Agarwal, our Vice Principal Sir, and our Environment Studies Department has planted multiple saplings in the campus of Ramanujan College, University of Delhi. So we have officially commenced this drive, and I hope that all of you, all of us will also take this forward. And like Mr. Arshad said, we'll be recording our growth through videos, through pictures, and we'll be sharing all the progress. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much, Mr. Arshad, for sparing your valuable time.
Thank you, Dhanishta. All the best, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.